So the question is, who has a brighter future, right? The Warriors, they still have Steph Curry, 21-year-old Jonathan Kuminga in the midst of really a breakout year. The Grizzlies, meanwhile, they have 3 franchise building blocks, 25 or younger, Ja, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr. They could add another one with a top pick in this summer's draft. It's a down year for Memphis, right? But when they are fully healthy, when you're looking at that starting lineup of Morant, of Jaren Jackson, of Desmond Bane, of Marcus Smart, which team do you think has a brighter future here, Brian?
I mean, I have to say the future that I know. I know who's on the Grizzlies. They're all 25 and younger. The last 2 years before this one, they were the number 2 seed in the West. You don't get that by accident. That's when those guys were like 22, 23. So, this is an assumption, which is always dangerous. These guys get back to full health. There's no reason to believe the Grizzlies can't pick up right where they left off. And who knows? We've seen this over and over in NBA history. They're going to get lucky in that lottery, and they're going to get a high pick when they've got this gap here.
I'm with Wendy on that one. I feel like it's time for the Grizzlies, right? And we know that they've been through a lot of ups and downs, but let's talk about the importance of this game tonight for the Golden State Warriors. And this is not going to be an easy game. This Memphis Grizzlies team, they play with a lot of grit, tenacity. They got Desmond Bane back. They just took the Sacramento Kings in the overtime. This is not going to be a cakewalk game for the Golden State Warriors, so they got to be prepared mentally to strap their boots up and go out there and play.
Come on, y'all. I understand. I have to go with what I know, and you never bet against Steph Curry in any circumstance. No, but give me this, right? This season is probably one that you want to flush down the toilet if you're Steph and the Warriors, right? They're going to still compete, but they're trapped right now in the play-in. You said, Perk, not too long ago, they have to do something. They have to maximize on their talents. The way that we talk about LeBron James, I know it's a different conversation in some ways. Steph Curry is doing remarkable things at year 15. If the window is the next 3 years, my bet is that Steph is still going to continue to lead the league in made threes. My bet is that the Golden State Warriors are letting this natural evolution of what's happening this season sort of just happen where, all right, Clay's bought in on a different role. We're examining who's playing well in this new next era. Jonathan Kuminga has taken strides. I don't think this iteration of the Warriors is what we're going to see for the next 3 years. I think this is probably going to be the most important offseason for Steph Curry and Golden State because he's still in his prime the same way we talk about and marvel about LeBron James, in some circumstances. So I still go with Steph Curry, and I do believe Golden State will find a way to make sure they compete with him over the next 3 years.
You got a lot of good points.
Did she sway you, though?
No.
Dang.
The Grizzlies, in terms of the future, we talk about Bane, who's entering his prime, Jaren Jackson, who's entering his prime, Ja Morant is not only going to become hasn't even scratched the surface. We're going to have a rejuvenated, motivated, heavily motivated Ja Morant to come back. This team has only been taking punches the past year. Not to mention, in this draw year, they're going to have a good pick, and they're also going to have a guy, because remember, it's a draw year. So they've had players that they've played.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? And it's not just because we're talking about these two teams, I promise. But in 2021, when Steph Curry was the only healthy member of the Warriors, future Hall of Famers, right? And they had this down year, and then they come back the next year, and they win a championship. I'm not saying that the Memphis Grizzlies are going to come back next year and win a championship, but who's the beneficiary of this down year? Jaren Jackson Jr. Jaren Jackson Jr. is getting to take that next step with his offense. Then you add back a healthy Ja Morant. You start adding those ingredients. I don't expect Memphis to
They also have
step.
Gigi.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Austin. Gigi Williams has been a great opportunity. Gigi Jackson.
Yeah.
It's been great for him. And to develop some other guys. They're going to reap some rewards from all this.
Absolutely. This back here has only made opportunity happen for all these guys to now they got other new assets that they can put around Ja, Bane, Jaren Jackson. Like this team, if we're talking about future, we talk about the Warriors. I love Steph, but Clay's not going to get any better over the next 2 or 3 years. Dre already said publicly on his pod that after another 2 or 3 years he might retire.
This year,
I don't.
This year reminded us all, well, not reminded us, but put the world on notice that out with the old and in with the new. The new wave of players, whether it's Ja Morant, Zion, Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, it's time to let go of the old heads.
But,
what?
I mean, Chiney said something really important. This might be the most important offseason for the Golden State Warriors. How do you read the tea leaves on that, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, there's two things going on with the Warriors right now. They're trying to win tonight. They got to win tonight to keep the play-in tournament.
Right.
And then there's the whiteboards that are behind the curtains in their front office.
Don't go behind the curtain.
Which is, they got some stuff to do this summer. You got Klay Thompson's free agency. You got Chris Paul, who they could potentially use in a trade. They could let him walk, or they could sign and trade him. There's some things they could do there. They have multiple first-round picks that they could trade. You know, Joe Lacob recently went on Tim Kawakami's podcast and said they're going to try to get out of the luxury tax or get out of something next year. I don't know how they're going to do that and still improve the team. But I think that they're going to be in the market to renovate this roster. Whether they finish 10th, 9th, 8th, 11th, whatever, that's going to happen regardless. That's clear. The only thing we do know, Steph will be there, Draymond will be there, and Steve Kerr re-signed. After that, I think their roster is a lot of question marks.
NBA